Every week, someone's out there turning their job into a performance art piece called "How Fast Can I Get Fired?" And just when you think you've seen the dumbest way to lose a paycheck, trust me, we're only warming up. 1. There are bad resignations, and then there's the Taco Bell lettuce incident. One heroic employee decided food safety guidelines were just corporate suggestions and climbed into a bin of lettuce. Not to fix something, mind you, just to take a selfie. He posted it online with the caption, "This is where your food comes from." The photos spread faster than salmonella. Corporate tracked him down within hours because apparently standing in produce is not in the employee handbook. The best part? He posed in full uniform, name tag and all, like he was submitting evidence against himself. That's not a job loss. That's a Darwin Award with HR paperwork. The internet laughed, Taco Bell panicked, and the rest of us learned an important truth. If your idea of fun at work involves crop contamination, you're not employee of the month. You're the reason health inspectors drink. 2. A Walmart employee decided his last day on Earth, well, Earth's retail sector, should be one for the history books. He picked up the store intercom, took a deep breath, and unleashed what can only be described as a Shakespearean meltdown. "Attention Walmart shoppers," he began. "Management is corrupt, my co-workers are lazy, and this whole place is a soulless corporate prison." Then, with perfect mic drop timing, he finished with, "I quit, bitches," and walked out. Customers applauded. TikTok turned him into a folk hero, and Walmart's HR department gained a new PTSD trigger. He didn't just quit a job, he declared independence from the minimum wage. It's poetic justice, really. He lost his job, but gained internet immortality. Somewhere out there, he's probably still getting tagged in memes about freedom, America's first retail revolutionary, armed with nothing but a PA system and pure rage. 3. A flight attendant once decided that normal resignations were for amateurs. After a heated argument with a passenger, he grabbed 2 beers, announced his grand finale, and deployed the emergency exit slide, while the plane was parked at the gate. He cracked open a cold one, saluted the passengers, and slid down like an action hero escaping a bad sequel. It was the most dramatic resignation in aviation history. The passengers cheered. The airline did not. FAA officials arrived faster than you can say unemployment benefits. He was charged thousands for the stunt, but honestly, worth it. He didn't just quit. He exited his career at 30 miles per hour. The man didn't walk away from his job, he slid into legend. If there's ever an Employee of the Year trophy for dramatic flair, he deserves it, engraved with "Fasten seatbelt before quitting." 4. A man called in sick from his office. Job, claiming he was too weak to even stand. The next day, his boss saw him on live TV, front row at a baseball game, sunburned, holding a giant beer like it was an IV drip. He even made it onto the Jumbotron, doing the wave. HR didn't even need to investigate. The boss called him the next morning and said, "Hope you're feeling better." He wasn't. He was unemployed by lunch. His excuse? It was a miracle recovery. Yeah, miraculous enough to hit the 7th inning stretch. It's the corporate version of robbing a bank while wearing your work name tag. The irony is he actually did look sick, just not from the flu. More like terminal stupidity. The only prescription for this one? Early retirement, forced by management. 5. Somewhere in the American Midwest, a teacher decided to spice up her curriculum with hands-on learning. The lesson plan? A real-life version of the Hunger Games. She split her middle school students into districts and told them to fight for survival. It took about 30 minutes before someone tried to build a weapon out of a ruler. When the principal found out, she defended herself by calling it immersive education. You have to admire the creativity. It's not every day you see a lesson plan that doubles as a felony. The school board was unimpressed. She was fired immediately, probably before Katniss could even finish her PowerPoint. Somewhere, she's still arguing it was about teamwork. Sure, because nothing says team building like emotional trauma and glue stick warfare. The kids learned one thing that day. In public education, you either teach or you get taught a lesson in unemployment. 6. A man working at a Domino's got fired for recording himself doing extreme pizza stunts. These stunts included sneezing on toppings and shoving cheese up his nose before baking it. He uploaded it to YouTube, thinking it would make him famous. It did, on CNN. The video went viral, corporate launched an investigation, and Domino's spent weeks explaining to customers that their food wasn't part of a nasal performance art project. He was arrested, fired, and became the unofficial mascot for "Don't Film Yourself Doing Crimes." The man wanted internet fame. He got a felony and a lifetime ban from mozzarella. He probably thought he'd start a trend. He did, just not the kind you want your name attached to. Somewhere out there, a new Domino's trainee still hears the legend of Sneezy the Pizza Guy in whispered corporate cautionary tales. 7. A zoo employee was fired after attempting to take a selfie inside the tiger enclosure. No barriers, no safety gear, just pure Darwinian optimism. He claimed the tiger looked calm, which is also what every person says right before they become a documentary. The photo didn't even come out that good. Blurry, terrified, and featuring what appears to be 300 pounds of cat deciding whether or not to ruin his life. The zoo didn't hesitate. He was fired immediately for gross misconduct and attempted self-deletion by Tiger. The internet, of course, loved it. His selfie got more likes than his job ever did. And the tiger, still employed, still majestic, still unimpressed by human stupidity. 8. A barista at Starbucks was fired for writing Karen on every single cup, regardless of the customer's actual name. When confronted, he said, "It's just faster this way." The management didn't share his commitment to efficiency. The final straw came when a regional manager, named Brian, ordered a latte and received "Karen extra wine." He was escorted out mid-shift, reportedly shouting, "I'm not wrong though." He wasn't wrong, but that's not a legal defense. The internet hailed him as a hero of passive aggression. Starbucks called it a violation of professional standards. Somewhere in the suburbs, an actual Karen is still writing his name in her Yelp review, but badly misspelled, of course. 9. A McDonald's employee got fired for inventing a secret menu item called the McNap. The concept was simple: clock in, take a nap in the freezer, clock out. He claimed it boosted productivity. You can't flip burgers tired. He got caught when another employee opened the freezer and found him snoring under a stack of frozen fries like a hibernating raccoon. Corporate didn't see the humor. The man defended himself by saying he was testing sleep-based efficiency. HR called it gross misconduct. Science calls it frostbite. Either way, he's now the only person who's ever taken cooling off at work literally. 10. An insurance agent was fired for using company time to run a side hustle, selling fake miracle crystals. The slogan? Guaranteed to lower your stress, boost your aura, and possibly lower your deductible. His clients were literally his clients. When management found out, he claimed he was diversifying his portfolio. The company called it fraud. The real tragedy? He made more money selling spiritual rocks than he ever did selling life insurance. Now he's self-employed, still online, and probably one motivational quote away from being on a Netflix documentary about modern snake oil salesmen. 11. A theme park mascot got fired for flipping off a group of teenagers during a parade. To be fair, they were heckling him, and it was July in Florida. Temperatures hot enough to melt your patience through 3 layers of synthetic fur. But the photo went viral. Mickey Mouse, mid-middle finger, frozen in Disney's worst PR nightmare. The park tried to spin it as a gesture misinterpretation. The internet said, "No, that's a very clear gesture." He was escorted out of the happiest place on earth, probably still wearing the head. The only thing more tragic than losing your job is losing it while dressed as a cartoon animal who legally can't speak to defend himself. 12. A banker was fired after emailing the entire company about his lunch theft conspiracy theory. Someone kept taking his yogurt from the break room fridge, and instead of letting it go like a normal human, he launched a 700-word manifesto titled "The Yogurt Thief Among Us." He included charts, timestamps, and even grainy security footage analysis. HR called him in, not to apologize, but to tell him he was the yogurt thief all along. He'd been forgetting he brought it. His response? That's impossible. HR's response? So, is keeping you employed. Somewhere, that PowerPoint still exists, a tragic monument to dairy-fueled paranoia. 13. A mall Santa got fired for telling kids the truth, not about Santa, about their parents. Apparently, one too many kids asked for expensive gifts, and he snapped. "Your dad can't afford that, Timmy," parents complained. Management panicked. He was escorted out mid-shift, still wearing the beard, muttering, "Someone had to tell them." The irony is he technically did what Santa's supposed to do: teach lessons, just not the kind that go well with Christmas spirit. His exit letter read, "Spreading holiday realism." Somewhere, an entire generation of children is in therapy, wondering why Santa sounded like their disappointed uncle. 14. A construction worker got fired after trying to prove that his hard hat did nothing. He took it off during a demo and hit himself on the head with a wrench. Spoiler: it did, in fact, do something. His supervisor watched in silent horror as he created the world's dumbest safety training video. When asked why, he said, "I wanted to test the system." The system replied with a termination notice and a trip to urgent care. OSHA didn't even need to step in. The laws of physics handled the discipline perfectly. 15. A police dispatcher was fired after using the emergency system to order pizza. She claimed it was efficient multitasking. The 911 log literally shows domestic disturbance sandwiched between pepperoni with extra cheese. The department called it a breach of duty. She called it lunch. Honestly, the only shocking part is that she didn't ask for a discount code. Somewhere there's a recording of her saying, "911, what's your emergency?" Actually, make that too large. America's public safety system, everyone. 16. A hotel receptionist was fired after sleeping through an entire night shift. When management reviewed the security footage, they saw something even better. He'd built himself a pillow fort behind the counter. Guests were checking in while he was snoring under a blanket of stolen linens. His defense? "I was still technically on site." That's not a defense. That's a nap with legal paperwork. The only thing missing was a "Do Not Disturb" sign hanging from his forehead. The hotel called it negligence. The internet called it relatable. 17. An IT technician was fired for hacking his company's Wi-Fi password because he forgot it. He spent 2 hours breaking into a network he had admin access to. When caught, he said, "I just wanted to see if I could." That's like stealing your own car to test the alarm system. The company said it was a breach of security protocol. He called it personal growth. They grew him right out of payroll. Somewhere, he's probably still talking about how it was a learning experience, which it was, specifically, a learning experience in how to apply for unemployment online. 18. A call center employee once got fired for using a soundboard to handle customer complaints. Instead of speaking, he clicked pre-recorded audio clips like, "I understand your frustration. Let me transfer you." And my personal favorite, "I'm sorry you feel that way." Customers didn't realize for weeks because, frankly, that's exactly how most call centers sound anyway. He only got caught when 2 customers compared notes and realized they got the exact same empathetic sigh at the same timestamp. His boss said it was deception. He said it was automation. Honestly, he wasn't wrong. He just invented customer service 2.0, one that doesn't need caffeine or fake enthusiasm. 19. A fast food worker was fired for creative marketing after making a viral TikTok showing how the restaurant's chicken nuggets looked identical before and after frying. He called it a miracle of modern preservatives. Corporate called it brand sabotage. The video hit 1 million views in a day, which is more exposure than their entire ad campaign that year. You'd think they'd give him a raise for saving them the budget. Instead, he was escorted out by security while being told he lacked brand loyalty. Yeah, nothing says loyalty like deep frying your dignity for $9 an hour and a free small fry. 20. A janitor at an office building was fired for stealing air fresheners. Not the expensive industrial ones, just those tiny plug-ins that smell like synthetic pine and regret. When questioned, he said the scent helped his mood. Corporate framed it as theft of company property, like he'd smuggled gold bars out in his mop bucket. They even reviewed security footage to catch him red-handed, literally holding a Glade refill like it was contraband. Imagine being fired not for stealing money, but for wanting your life to smell slightly less like despair. That's capitalism's most poetic firing. 21. A Subway employee was fired for cutting the bread vertically instead of horizontally. Not joking. He thought it looked cooler. Customers didn't agree, and neither did management when photos started circulating online. The subs looked like meat-filled baguette sarcophagi. His defense? Artistic freedom. The manager said, "We're not an art gallery." But you have to admire the commitment. He died on the hill of sandwich geometry. Somewhere in an alternate universe, he's a sandwich Picasso shaping baguette rebellion. In this one, he's just the guy who turned lunch into modern art and got fired for it. 22. A security guard was fired for falling asleep on the job, which wouldn't be that bad. except he fell asleep in front of the CCTV monitors. 8 straight hours of recorded footage showing him gently drooling while thefts occurred behind him in real time. When confronted, he said he was meditating with his eyes closed. Bold strategy. Unfortunately, HR didn't buy it. The only thing he successfully guarded that night was his own REM cycle. 23. A marketing intern at a car dealership was fired after accidentally emailing a 40% off coupon to the company's entire mailing list. The problem? It was supposed to go to just one person, his mom. She asked for a discount. He said, "Sure, I'll take care of it," and hit send all. Within hours, hundreds of customers showed up demanding the deal, and the dealership had to honor it to save face. He cost the company tens of thousands of dollars. His mom still got her car, though. The family dinners must be fun. Pass the potatoes, and also my severance check. 24. A delivery driver was fired after using his company van to help a friend move. He didn't just make one trip. He basically ran a moving business on the side. He even put magnetic stickers over the company logo that said Independent Delivery Services. His boss found out when someone called the company's number on the real logo underneath and asked for a quote. When questioned, he said, "I was optimizing resources." HR called it Grand Theft Cargo Van. He was last seen trying to optimize unemployment benefits. 25. A lawyer was fired for texting his client a meme during trial. The meme, by the way, was a gif of a dumpster fire. It was accurate. The case was going horribly. But professionalism apparently doesn't include meme commentary. The judge caught him laughing and asked to see his phone. Imagine explaining to a federal judge that you were providing emotional support through relatable humor. He was dismissed on the spot, proving once and for all that not every situation calls for just vibes. 26. A nurse was fired for live streaming her hospital's night shift on TikTok. The caption read, "Another day, another plague." It started harmlessly, jokes about coffee, paperwork, and sleepy coworkers. But then she started naming patients, while they were still in the room. HIPAA laws, it turns out, don't find humor in content creation. She lost her job, her license, and probably a few followers. Somewhere, her last video still says, "POV, you just got fired on live." 27. A theme park ride operator got fired for pausing the roller coaster mid-loop to take a selfie. He captioned it, "Living life on the edge," which, coincidentally, is also what the company said about their liability insurance. Riders were stuck upside down for 12 minutes while he got the angle right. When confronted, he said it was for content. The park called it endangerment. Same thing, really. One just gets more likes. 28. A funeral home worker was fired after accidentally sending a meme to a grieving family. He was trying to reply to a coworker but hit the wrong chat. The meme? A dancing skeleton saying, "Can't keep me down." The family did not share the humor. When questioned, he said, "At least it was thematic." He wasn't wrong, just unemployed. It's the kind of mistake you can't fix with an apology or a resurrection. 29. A remote worker was fired for working from home while on a cruise. He brought his laptop, set up Zoom, and used a virtual background of his office. Everything was fine until a seagull flew through his window. When asked, he claimed it was a rare species of indoor bird. The company didn't appreciate his commitment to tropical productivity. He learned 2 lessons that week. Wi-Fi at sea is bad, and so is lying to HR. 30. A warehouse employee was fired for driving a forklift into a vending machine. His reasoning? "It stole my dollar." In his defense, justice was served. The machine was crushed, snacks liberated, morale boosted. Unfortunately, the company didn't see it as an act of bravery. They called it property destruction. He called it liberation. In the end, he got fired, but somewhere a bag of Doritos was free. And that's a legacy that matters. 31. A hotel manager was fired after upgrading every guest to a luxury suite to spread positivity. Sounds nice, right? Until corporate realized the hotel made 0 profit that month. When asked why, he said, "Happiness is priceless." Turns out it isn't. It's exactly $309.99 a night. He wanted to start a movement. He did, straight to the unemployment line. 32. A substitute teacher was fired after showing her class a horror movie instead of the assigned documentary. The chosen film? The Conjuring. When parents complained, she defended herself by saying, "They learned about fear. That's real life." Half the students didn't sleep for days. The other half developed sudden interest in the occult. Either way, the school district called it educational malpractice. She called it Friday. 33. A restaurant chef was fired for replacing all the salt with sugar as an experiment in customer behavior. The experiment succeeded. Customers behaved like angry mobs. When the manager asked why, he said he wanted to challenge expectations. Mission accomplished. Every single plate was returned, and one guy apparently bit into a steak caramel. Culinary innovation died that day, along with his job. 34. A tech employee was fired after connecting his personal crypto mining rig to the company server. When caught, he said, "I was testing blockchain." Integration. Translation: he was using corporate electricity to mine imaginary money. The IT department noticed when the office's power bill suddenly looked like a Las Vegas casino's. He walked out richer by $42 in Bitcoin and poorer by one very real paycheck. 35. A theme park employee was fired for dressing as a pirate during Casual Friday. Management said the costume violated the dress code, which is funny because he worked on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. He argued that he was enhancing the guest experience, but apparently, corporate prefers their pirates depressed and wearing khakis. The irony? His unsanctioned costume got better reviews than the official show. He was escorted out of the park by security, still wearing his plastic cutlass, shouting, "You'll remember this day as the day you almost fired Captain Jack," which is brave, considering he absolutely did get fired. 36. A radio DJ was fired after hosting a Hold Your Wii for a Wii contest, where contestants drank gallons of water without using the bathroom. The winner got a Nintendo Wii. The loser got hospitalized. The station didn't realize forcing people to internally drown themselves for a gaming console might be, unethical. When management asked why he thought this was okay, the DJ said, "It's radio. You can't see the suffering." Congratulations, sir. You've invented the world's least fun endurance sport and the fastest route to a lawsuit. 37. A police officer was fired for stealing snacks from the evidence room. Not drugs, not money, just Cheetos. He said the temptation was too strong. Imagine risking your pension over a $1.29 bag of artificial cheese. He even tried to reseal the bag with tape like a criminal raccoon. Internal Affairs discovered it during an audit, and the man was dismissed with full dishonor. When asked why, he said, "They were already evidence," which is somehow both the dumbest and most accurate excuse ever spoken by law enforcement. 38. A wedding planner was fired after live tweeting her client's ceremony and roasting everyone in it. She called the groom Budget Chris Pratt, the bridesmaids a flock of champagne seagulls, and the mother-in-law proof God has favorites. Unfortunately, one of those seagulls followed her account. By the time the couple said "I do," Twitter said, "You're done." She tried to defend herself as a social commentator. The bride's lawyer called it defamation. Either way, her next event will probably be her own funeral, professionally speaking. 39. A construction foreman was fired after building an entire wall, in the wrong direction. He misread the blueprint by 180 degrees and proudly announced completion before anyone noticed the parking lot was now a maze. When the client pointed it out, he said, "That's subjective." It wasn't. They had to demolish the whole thing, which cost tens of thousands. But the confidence? Olympic level. He may have lost his job, but he'll always be remembered as the man who built a monument to not reading the instructions. 40. A scientist was fired for testing his company's new energy drink on himself, intravenously. He said it would speed up absorption. It did, straight to the ER. When HR asked what possessed him, he said, "I wanted to feel the energy at a molecular level." Technically, mission accomplished. He glowed like a motivational poster for 30 minutes before passing out. The company had to issue a press release clarifying their drinks were not designed for direct injection, which is a sentence that shouldn't exist in any sane timeline. 41. A city bus driver was fired after turning his route into a personal Uber Eats service. He'd accept orders mid-route, stop at drive-thrus, and deliver meals to passengers for tips. It started as a joke, then became profitable. The city only found out after passengers started reviewing him on Yelp. 5 stars, fries still hot. The department called it gross misconduct. I call it innovation. He lost his job, but he probably started the first public transit food service in history. Somewhere, Elon Musk is jealous. 42. A chef at a Michelin star restaurant was fired after trying to reimagine every dish as soup. Every single dish, steak soup, lasagna soup, cheesecake soup. He said it was a deconstruction of the solid food paradigm. The critics called it hot garbage water. When the owner confronted him, he yelled, "You don't understand art," which, to be fair, was correct. No one understood what the hell he was doing. He was escorted out while muttering, "They'll thank me one day." We're still waiting. 43. A tech CEO fired himself after accidentally sending his company's entire payroll to the wrong country. He mixed up Hungary and Hong Kong in a banking portal. Dozens of random people in Budapest woke up significantly richer, and by the time anyone noticed, it was gone. His resignation email said, "Mistakes were made." Yeah, by you, Jeff. He tried to rebrand as a consultant in digital finance. Translation? The guy who accidentally donated $1 million to strangers because he clicked the wrong drop-down. 44. A priest was fired from his parish after accidentally turning on Snapchat filters during live-streamed Mass. Halfway through his sermon, the face of Christ was being delivered through a dancing cat with sparkles. He didn't notice for 10 minutes. The congregation did. It went viral as holy meows. When asked if he regretted it, he said, "At least people finally paid attention." Honestly, if religion adopted more filters, attendance might actually go up. 45. A bank teller was fired for robbing his own bank, not with a gun, with paperwork. He wrote himself a check for $500,000 and deposited it into his own account, signed by himself. His reasoning? "I figured the system wouldn't flag me." It did, instantly. He tried to explain it was a test of internal security. It was, and he failed. That's not financial fraud. That's performance art. 46. A substitute zookeeper was fired after trying to feed Pop-Tarts to a gorilla. His logic? It's basically fruit. The gorilla, unimpressed, threw it back at him. Visitors clapped. Management didn't. When told that gorillas are on a carefully controlled diet, he said, "So am I." Not the flex he thought it was. He was escorted out while the gorilla watched, probably wondering which species is actually endangered. 47. A museum employee was fired for cleaning a dirty old painting that turned out to be a 16th century masterpiece. Armed with Windex and good intentions, she scrubbed away 400 years of history and most of Jesus' face. When asked why she did it, she said, "It looked dusty." It's now valued at approximately $7 and hangs in the world's least prestigious gallery. The before and after memes of art restoration fails. 48. A news anchor was fired after accidentally swearing live on air in 3 different languages. He panicked when a teleprompter froze, started improvising, then transitioned into a full linguistic meltdown. The network received complaints from 5 countries. He defended himself by saying it was multicultural outreach. It wasn't. But hey, he united the world in disappointment. 49. A politician's aide was fired for accidentally tweeting from the official account while drunk. The tweet read, "Politics is fake, and so are you, Brenda." The problem? Brenda was the politician's wife. It stayed up for 6 minutes before being deleted, but screenshots are forever. The aide blamed cyber interference. The interference, apparently, was a bottle of tequila. 50. A NASA intern was fired for arguing with an astronaut online. She tweeted, "Suck my rocket," not realizing she was responding to a former NASA legend. He replied calmly, "I am on the National Space Council." The internet watched in horror and awe as she was launched, not into orbit, but straight out of employment. Somewhere, there's a PowerPoint in NASA HR titled, "Why We Now Vet Twitter Handles." 51. And finally, a man was fired from his job at a glue factory for, you guessed it, not sticking around. He just didn't show up one day. No call, no text. When management finally reached him, he said, "I quit last week. I left a note." The note? It was glued to the wall. They couldn't read it without destroying it. Honestly, that's poetic. After 51 cases of stupidity, that man gave us closure. He didn't just lose his job, he bonded with destiny. The dumbest firing of all time, sealed permanently with industrial-grade irony. Mic dropped. Stuck forever. Hit like if you've ever quit a job less dramatically. Subscribe if you want front row seats to the next. Disaster. And remember, somewhere out there, someone's getting fired right now for something even dumber.